Hello and good morning everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Today I've brought to you a new video. Today we'll be discussing about the AWS console. I'll be giving you an overview of the AWS platform. Before that, if you have not opened an AWS account, please try and watch my previous video in which I have shown you how to start with an AWS platform with opening an account on the AWS platform. So let's begin with today's session. Let's begin with the video. So today I'll be giving you an overview of the console. I'll be giving you a brief introduction of the AWS platform. I'll be explaining you regions and availability zones. I'll be also exploring some cost related services. I'll be explaining you billing and cost management console, and I'll also be explaining you how to raise support tickets to help and resolve your issues, whichever issue it is, onto the AWS platform. So you can see on the very left hand side at the top there is an icon of AWS. You can click on that icon AWS, and you'll be getting three lines here. In that, there is something called as all services. Let's deep dive into this and let's see which are those services. So you can see the services are being categorized. They are categorized in the form of compute, containers, storage, database, migration and transfer, network and content, machine learning, analytics, application integration, management and governance, security, identity, and compliance. So, depending upon the use case, depending upon the requirement of the project, one can go on to use this service. So, now let's discuss about the compute service. In the compute service, EC2, that is the Elastic Compute Cloud, is one of the service which is used on a very large scale. Apart from that, there's service called as Lambda. Lambda is serverless computing. Again, it is being used on a very large scale. Apart from that, Elastic Beanstalk, it is used to host your application. Apart from that, there's something called as containers. Containers, we are very familiar with Elastic Container Services like Docker, Elastic Kubernetes Service, Elastic Container Registry. Then comes storage. In storage, we are very familiar with S3, that is the buckets, the simple storage service which we use in AWS to store data. Apart from that, database, there are relational databases like Aurora RDS and non-relational database like DynamoDB. We are very familiar with the migration and transfer service also. Then comes network and content delivery like VPC is there, route tables are there, in VPC subnets are there. Then comes DNS service in the form of Route 53. There are some developer related tools also, analytics tools also. Apart from that, we do have management and governance related services. We also have security, identity, and compliance related services also. So as we go ahead, we'll try and explore all these services in detail. We'll try and do some hands-on on these services. We'll try and integrate these services with one and another to try and build a real-time project. So these services will be coming across in the coming sessions. But before going to that, let's continue with the main content of this session, that is the console, a brief introduction of the console. So I hope I've made myself clear with the services which are listed on AWS. AWS almost has 200 plus services. So these services can be used depending upon the requirement of the project and depending upon the requirement of the client. So let's go ahead. I'll go back to the home page, and you can see in the home page there's a tab called as recently visited. This means this is going to highlight the services which I have used recently or the services which I use on a regular basis. You can see I am using EC2, I've been using Elastic Beanstalk, the billing and the cost management service, I've been using the SageMaker S3, I've been making use of Route 53, IAM, I've been making use of the secret manager service, the Elastic container service, and such other. So it helps you to directly go into those service. Like if I want to go into EC2, I can directly click here. I'll be taken back to the EC2 console rather than trying to find here with the search bar. I'll be typing EC2 and then I'll be going to EC2 service. So this that you can see that name, that is the name of the account holder. You can see everyone has a unique account ID as well. That helps when we try to do some peering connection and all, when we try to interact with the outside accounts and all. So that is related to the user information. Then you can see on the left that there's something called as a region. Now these are regions. You can see that the regions, by definition, in AWS, regions are geographically isolated data centers. Those data centers can be termed as North Virginia, Mumbai, then Ireland, London, Singapore, Sydney, whichever area, geographical area is being isolated from the other data center in a different geographical, in a different area, in a different region, will be termed as a unique data center. In short, region is one isolated geographical area which hosts a data center. So to make the explanation very simpler, what I'll do is I'll try and just draw and try and explain you what do you mean by availability zone and region. Now this red color rectangle is nothing but it's a region. It's a region, and in this region we'll be having availability zone. Now what is availability zone? I'll try and make you understand that. In this region there's an availability zone. Now let's say I'll just name this region. I'll name this as region. This is region, the bigger triangle, and this is availability zone. Okay, fine. Availability zone 2, this is going to be availability zone 2. And then okay, region, region. Okay, now you can see that in the region there is, I'll just try and maximize this a bit. Okay, you can see in the region there are availability zones. Now Mumbai is a region. In Mumbai there will be multiple data centers. These data centers are called as availability zones. The one on the left hand side is availability zone 1, and the one on the right hand side is availability zone 2. Now, why is it so that in the region we are having multiple availability zones? Now, let's say there is a technical issue which arises in availability zone 1. The data should be replicated in another availability zone so that there is no data loss. That is why we maintain multiple availability zones in regions. Now, it doesn't mean that the region will only have two availability zones. It can also have multiple more availability zones. Now, let's consider a case of Mumbai. Mumbai is having three availability zones, right? So, availability zone one goes down due to some reason. The services can be served from availability zone 2. So just to maintain the availability, just to maintain that the services are, the user is able to access all the services, we are going to have multiple availability zones. We also term it as multi-ASI or multi-AZ, that is multiple availability zones. Let's go ahead. Now let's see this region. We have regions like North Virginia, North California, Mumbai, right? So Mumbai is AP South 1. So AP South 1 is a region. Okay. And what about availability zone? So I'll just go for an example in EC2. I'll just try and launch an EC2. I won't do that. I won't do that. I will just show you how availability zones one can, just see how the availability zones are listed into the network. You can see that in the, I have selected. Okay, in this case, it is North Virginia, which I have selected. So in North Virginia, you can see that there are multiple availability zones, US East 1A, 1B, 1C. That means there are almost six availability zones. If we would have considered Mumbai, if you would have considered Mumbai, zones, let's check that. Here I go, and the availability zone, here it is. So 1A, 1B, and 1C. That is, this is identification, that is 1A is availability zone, 1B is the second availability zone, and 1C is the third availability zone. So availability zone is a part of a region. So Mumbai here is a region, and the part of Mumbai region is this availability zone. So I hope I've made myself clear with availability zones and region. You may be asked a question, what do you understand by regions and availability zones when it comes to interviews? So you can explain in this way. Let's go ahead. There's one more platform onto the console, which is called as the cost and usage, or the billing and the cost management platform, which gives you an idea as to what is the current month's cost, what is the forecasted cost of the of this particular month, then how and which services you have used. Like you can see, this is in a slight red maroon color. You can see I've used EC2 to the maximum extent in April 2026. The current month's cost is pricing is less than $1, and it's expected to rise up to $0.33. So this will help you, try and understand your billing strategy, which services you are using, and you can work on those services to try and reduce the cost. Because after all, a good engineer is the one who is going to reduce the cost, who is going to make use of reliable and smart services to ensure that the cost is minimum. One more thing I want to explain you in the console is related to the AWS Pricing Calculator. If, let's say, a client approaches you, and he or she, actually ask you, like, I want to, host a application, I want to host a web server onto a EC2 instance, and how much will be the cost? Can you share a next estimate to me? So in that case, you can select this option, that is the AWS pricing calculator. Okay, you can go on to create an estimate, and when you create an estimate, it is going to give you a good nice PDF with all the details that you can directly share to the client. That gives a professional look as well. In that case, let's select the region. I will be selecting Mumbai. You can select any other region. I'll keep this to Mumbai. Find a service, which service the client is looking for, or which service you want to work upon. It can be EC2 dedicated instance. ठीक है. Let's consider a case that it's a dedicated instance. Linux, how many instances I want? I want only one instance. And how many CPUs want? You want two virtual CPUs along with 2 GB RAM. Okay. And let's consider a case. I'll select this T3 dot small, and let's see. I'll be going with the on-demand option. With spot you can get some discount, but the reliability decreases. Spot instances are the one which will be terminated, which will get disconnect if someone bids with a higher rate for that instance. That is why if you want 24/7 your system, your environment to be up, you can go on with on demand configuration. So I'll keep this on demand. We are just trying to compute the cost, and I'll say show calculations. And you can see that a cost estimate is being given to you. You can share this cost with the client. You can try and reduce this. I've just considered this with a very general thumb rule. So this is one way you can save and view the summary, and a PDF will be generated, and then you can share it with the client, or whosoever is interested in this cost configuration. This is yet another thing which can be asked, like how do you estimate the price, or how do you configure or take the approval for the cost. So you can make use of the AWS pricing calculator, which is an integrated service in AWS. Let's go ahead, and I'll try and cover the last topic. Now, let's say you have encountered an issue, and an issue can be related to anything. Let's say you are being billed more this month. Like, although you did not use the service, or unknowingly you kept the service on, you are trying to experiment. You are in your and try to keep a particular EC2 instance on unknowingly, and now you are being billed very high for that. So who do you reach to? Right? So you can reach to the enter support, and the support platform will be open for you. This is basic support. This is the basic support which they'll be providing us. You can describe what the issue is. Like, let's say I kept my I am being billed more this month unknowingly. You can unknowingly I kept my EC2 running, something like this, with properly describing the issue, and you can submit this here, and once you submit this, they'll be replying back to you. You can say that you're a student, or you tried to experiment, and now you are being billed for that. So if they find the case genuine, they can waive off. If you are in the initial phase of understanding the platform, if you're not a multi-level organization, they can go on to waive that off as well. So all the support cases which you raise are being displayed here. Now I also had raised multiple support cases, so these are listed here in the support case on the left hand side, where you can see my cursor is there. So this helps you try and troubleshoot the issues which we face on a regular basis. So this is what I wanted to explain you in today's session. I hope you must have understood the basics, and you must have understood the platform of AWS. If you have understood, please do like the video, and please do subscribe to the channel. Thank you.